Hey, it's CoastRegistry, online registration for skating clubs. In this video, we're going to talk about registration workflows. In particular, we'll talk about three workflows: the normal checkout workflow, an approval workflow, administrative registration workflow. So let's get started. So we have to understand the scenario that we're going to work with so that we can demonstrate all three workflows. So here's the spring 2014 Can Skate and Can Power season. You can see they have pre-Can Skate, Can Skate Advanced, Junior Star, and Can Power. They're on Mondays and Wednesdays, running from 6:30 to 7 with pricing and so on. It's interesting that the Advanced and the Junior Star, the head coach wants to ensure that only certain kids come into that program. So she wants an approval workflow on those two sessions so that before they can register, they have to have approval of the head coach. So we'll show how to do that. And then lastly, the Can Power parents, generally speaking, they don't like online registration and they want to just pay by the old style paper forms and checks. So we'll show how to administratively register the Can Power people and mark them as paid by check. So let's get started. Family account that we'll use in this scenario is Ringwald, and the administrative account is GWSC admin. So here's the web front end to CoastRegistry for the Great White North Skating Club. You can see there's Great White North Skating Club Can Skate sessions, and there's a Summer Elite program. We in particular are interested in the Can Skate in this scenario. But before we actually try to register it all, let's go and look at how the sessions are set up. So we're going to log in as our Great White North Skating Club administrator. And we're going to go look at this Can Skate program and figure out what it looks like. So there it is. You can see there's the pre-Can Skate, the Can Skate Monday. There's the Advanced and the Junior Star. There's the pre-Can Skate Monday from 6:30 to 7. You can see the other sessions here, the Can Power, and so on. So it's set up exactly like the table showed. And now what we want to do is ensure that the Advanced and the Junior Stars are set up for approval. So let's go look at those sessions here. This is the session editing screen where you put in all the parameters for how a session is structured. The day, the name, the start time, end time, the start date, end date, the number of classes. But down here you see requires approval. If this is checked, then when anytime somebody tries to register for this session, they'll go through an approval workflow. So that's set up for Advanced, and let's make sure it's set up for Junior Star. And there you can see requires approval is also in place for Junior Star. The rest of the sessions are not approval based, can go straight in and register for those. So let's do that. Let's log out as administrator, and now let's register. And in registering, we'll have to log in as a family account. So we're going to register for Great White North Skating Club Can Skate. And the first thing we're going to have to do is log in. So we'll use the family account. And now we'll identify our skater. We'll pick Darby Ringwald. That's the boy. Select him. And now let's select Can Skate sessions. He wants to skate in Can Skate Monday, and he wants to skate on Can Skate Wednesday. So we'll select those two sessions. You can see they're selected here. If we had made a mistake, we can add more or remove. We've got some functionality there. And now let's register. Before we register, the parent has to agree to some terms and conditions of the Great White North Skating Club. So they read through these terms and conditions, and then they click I agree, and then they go next. And there you go. There's the two sessions, and there's our total. And when we want to pay for it, we go to the PayPal checkout. So this is your basic checkout workflow. We'll go to PayPal, and then I can pay on PayPal with my credit card. I do not have to have a PayPal account. I can just pay straight through with my credit card. There are some benefits to having a PayPal account. We're not going to actually pay for this. We're just, that was as far as we needed to go with that workflow. So that was the straight through workflow. Now let's register for, we get to bypass the first state in the workflow. Now we get to identify our skater again, and we'll pick Darby again. And now we want to select the sessions, but this time Darby wants to go into Advanced. So he selects Advanced. Shows up here. He goes to register. He has to agree to terms and conditions like before. He goes next. But this time you can see that down here it says approval required. You have to click finish to start the approval process. So rather than paying at this point, like in the checkout workflow, we have to actually say finish. And it says your registration will be submitted for approval to the club's registrar, and the registrar may actually forward it on to the club coach or director of skating or whomever. But the skater needs to understand that they're not really fully registered until they're approved and paid. So they have to click a check mark here just so they understand where they are in the workflow and say okay. Now at that point, they're complete and they're brought back to the main page. Now what we can do is we can go look in our email system. So I'm now in the email client of Darby's parents, and we got an email from CoastRegistry, and it basically says that the session I've registered for has been received, but it requires approval. So it's just a confirmation that my registration was in the system, but that it actually required approval. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that this email here is actually also Coach or the registrar's email client who requires approval, and I'm going to have the approval email sent to this email client as well. This is a bit contrived. It would usually be a different person in a different email client, but for the purposes of this demonstration, it will come to the same place. Just hold on and you'll see. So now imagine that I'm the coach. I'm seeing the registration approval required here, that I should be looking for approval. I'm the registrar, and it says an online registration was made by Darby Ringwald, and so I'm going to say I approve. If I didn't approve, then the system would send an email to Darby saying you can't register for that session, and the system would also send an email to the registrar letting them know that the approval was denied and that they should remove that attempted registration from the system. But anyway, I'm going to say I approve. And so it says, hello registrar, thank you for approving. Approval is now complete. So that's great. Now I have to imagine that I'm the skater again, and I'm going to get another email back from CoastRegistry telling me that I'm approved. So I just got an email saying registration approval complete for skater. So let's have a look at that. It says, hello Darby Ringwald, your session has been approved. So now I can complete my registration by clicking on the link below, which will take me back to CoastRegistry and allow me to complete the registration. So let's click that link. Brings me back into CoastRegistry, showing the event that I was registering for. And now instead of an approval, I've now been connected back into the checkout workflow, and now I can check out with PayPal. So that brings me back to PayPal like we were discussing earlier. So that's great. So now for the final workflow that we need to discuss, we need to do an administrative workflow. So what we need to do is log in as the administrator. If you remember, the scenario was Darby is a power skater and doesn't like to register online, and Darby's parents have given you a paper form filling out that he wanted to sign up for Power Skate and that his registration check was provided. So what we do in this case is we're going to go find Darby in our skaters list. And there he is. And we're going to go over here to options. And one of the options for skaters in the administration console is to register the skater for sessions. So let's go and register him for Great White North Skating Club CanSkate. So what this does is it takes me back into the workflow, but the skater's already been identified. We've logged on as the administrator, so now I can just select the session, and we knew it was CanPower because we saw it on the form that he filled out. We click OK. We can see that CanPower is selected here. We can register him, and you'll note that because I'm an administrative registrar, I don't get the terms and conditions and stuff. I go straight to the invoice. It shows how much I have to pay, and it says register the skater. So I can click that button, and now what it's going to say is, how should this person pay? Should I notify the customer that administration registration was done? That's the first thing. If you check that, then the person will at least get an email. The next way is, how will they pay? There's two different ways for them to pay. One, we can send them a PayPal invoice via email and they can pay that way. Or two, we can mark it as paid by another means because they paid by check. And that's exactly what Darby did. His parents gave us a check. They gave us a check for $125. You can see it's a regular, let's say, registered paper form, and it was checked. So now we can say OK, and administration is complete. Administrative registration is complete. Customer will get an email indicating that they have paid for the registration. And in fact, if we're viewing registrations, we will see that Darby's CanPower registration is indeed paid for, and we can rest assured that administrative registration completed properly. So with that, we've described the three different workflows required for administrative registration in CoastRegistry. We demonstrated the normal workflow where you go straight through, demonstrated the approval workflow, and we demonstrated administrative registration. Thanks for watching, and watch another one of our videos sometime soon.